Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we're out here in my yard by my bins because I wanted to talk to you about a little guy or a little species that visits me every year, and that's the green frog. Now, your first inclination may be to think that these guys are harmful, but they really only show up in tubs or ponds that are flush to the ground, that are relatively shallow, and they're generally not problematic. So I wanted to show them to you, talk a little bit about their needs, and explain why they're probably not an issue. Now, most often, as I mentioned, they'll be in these low tubs. So my taller tubs, they have never once gotten into, but these more shallow Laguna bins are set up just about perfectly for them, in that they're low to the ground, they're shallow. I have bins of plants that sit up with an area that's out of the water, because you see, these guys tend to just sit in plants and wait to eat insects, and that's all they do. Now, they're mainly solitary except for when they're going to be breeding. This is most likely a male, and I'll show you why in a moment. They eat flies, mosquitoes, spiders, dragonflies, beetles, small fish, and tadpoles. And the thing that might alarm you that I said is small fish. Now, this is generally only fish that are on their way out, as in very sickly and floating on the water surface, as these guys generally only eat outside of the water, which makes them sort of beneficial for our tubs in that they eat a lot of the predatory bugs that could otherwise cause issues within them. Now, their Latin name is Rana, which is Latin for frog, clamatins, which means loud calling. I believe they've been reclassified as lithobates, and they're distinguished from their larger cousin, the bullfrog, in that these guys stay under 4 inches. The very largest specimens only get to about 4 inches. Now, these guys suffer from habitat loss due to shoreline development, introduction of sport fishes like bass. And you guys know I'm a bit of a naturalist. I like to plant plants all over my yard that encourage pollinators and visits from birds. I have a ton of bird feeders. And I think that having a low tub like these is really beneficial to my little native environment here as well. Not to mention, they make a really cool sound when they're sending out their mating calls in the spring. I was hoping to capture it for you, but I wasn't able to. Now, you can tell their gender in that the tympanum, or like their ear flap that's right behind their eye, in males is larger than their eye, in females it's substantially smaller. All in all, I just think these guys are really, really neat. And if you move nice and slow around a low-lying pond or bin, you may be able to see some in your area too, as these guys' distribution is really widespread, at least in this part of the United States. The males get a really, really pretty green throat and sometimes a green upper lip. And I was trying so hard to get a shot of that for you on this guy, but he was too timid to come out of the weeds to show you. Now, these guys hibernate in the mud, so I'm not really sure where they hibernate in my yard. The river's about a mile away. It's possible that they move from the river area or the creeks that are close to me back up to my bins each year, but I have literally seen them every single year, and I always get excited when they return. Again, I've never noticed any loss of any of my tiny fish in my tubs from these guys, nor any impact on the amount of fry that I get. So I think what I've read on the internet is probably pretty true, that for the most part, they only eat the insects or items outside of the water. And I think that puts them fully into the friend section rather than the foe. Now, I'd love to know from you guys if you would like me to focus on more critters like this. So let me know down in the comments what sort of potential pests or predators you see around your tubs or in your yard. And if I have them here too, I would love to try and capture and make a video on those as well. As always, thanks for your continued support. Make sure you give this video a like if you liked learning about these little green frogs. And make sure you're subscribed with that notification bell on so you don't miss any of the updates to all the projects around the yard. Mother Nature seems to be settling down, and I really think I'm going to be able to move fish out into my outdoor tubs here probably within the next week, and I'm super excited to share that with you guys. I've also been working on a couple of projects in the greenhouse as well as the fish room that I think many of you will enjoy.